Hey, and welcome back to another edition, our second of In the Zone Press YouTube show.
Yeah.
And of course, we're the Everything College Basketball guys. For those who are familiar with or unfamiliar, I'm Josh Burton.
I'm Peyton Burton.
And with us, we have our other cohort in crime here.
Yeah, Mr. Tyler Cook back.
Mr. Tyler Cook. Now, hey, everybody's heard the voices. Now you get to see the pretty faces.
Yeah.
Hey, as you see, rocking the Everything College Basketball hat. It looks backwards to me because of our camera angle, but
Yeah.
It's definitely an Everything College Basketball hat. Go get your merch now. Actually, hey, real quick, this show today is sponsored by Applied Right Painting Services. Our buddy J.R. Rowe, that's his company, and they've been gracious enough to hop on board and become a sponsor not only the podcast, but they're sponsoring the YouTube show tonight. So we, again, for all your painting needs here in the Indianapolis, Southern, Central Indiana region, go to Applied Right Painting Services. They deal with residential, commercial, new construction, and repaints, serving Indianapolis, surrounding areas, including Columbus, Edinburgh, Franklin, Carmel, and Avon. For your free estimate, contact Larry Rowe at 812-447-7970 or Todd Idle at 765-592-3679. Their slogan is "Quality craftsmanship is our commitment to you." We believe it. Again, J.R. Rowe is a big supporter of us, and we thank him again. You know, this is the Applied Right Painting Services In the Zone Press YouTube hour with Everything College Basketball. So we're here tonight. As we talked to you guys last week, we dealt with the Indiana-Purdue game, and boy, we were wrong in that. We all thought that was going to be a barn burner, and Purdue put a beat down on them.
I didn't think it was a barn burner.
Well, Tyler's the only one that thought Purdue would smash. But hey, we're back tonight, and guess what we got tonight for you?
We got the Kansas versus Kentucky preview this Saturday.
Yeah. You name those two programs. You name Kentucky, you name Kansas, and that's all you got to say in most instances when it comes to college basketball. Number one and number two in all-time wins, legendary coaches, legendary venues, legendary players. Those two are going to meet up on Saturday night, and the whole eyes of college basketball will be upon Lexington for that one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's kind of fun.
Game days in the house on that.
Yep. Game day. It should be, and it really should be. A game of that magnitude, everybody should be there if you're
both in the top 10.
Yep, and both thankfully coming off big wins this past Tuesday night, or Monday and Tuesday night. So it sets up a massive showdown. Kentucky ranked 8th. Kansas ranked 9th, about as even's going to get. Both teams are always perennial Final Four national title contenders. Both are always battling for the same recruits. And it makes it even more fun because Tyler, big-time Kansas fan, obviously I'm big-time Kentucky, and Peyton's split. He don't know what he is. He's got the Kansas hat and Louisville sweatshirt on tonight. But we're going to do our best to break this down and preview this game for you. It's a big-time game, part of the SEC Big 12 Challenge. And from there, Tyler, I think I'll turn the floor to you for some Kansas facts, for the Jayhawk facts.
Just a little recap on the history of this thing, man. It's UK leads the advantage on it. They're 22-9 as far as the wins here. But let's not be like a bunch of Cowboys fans and bask on the past here. What can you do for me now? And the Jayhawks have been on a pretty good streak. You know, they're 6-3 since 2005. They're on a 3-game win streak there. They've won it twice in the Big 12 SEC Challenge, and then once in the Championships Classic. That's their last 3 wins against Kentucky. I mean, they got beat in the 2012 National Championship, but we're going to let that one slide.
No, we're not either.
We got just a little history of the game. Like, their high point man for Kansas of all time is between Wayne Hightower and Wayne Selden. They both went for 33. In 1959 for Hightower. Wayne Selden was 2016. I mean, they got our high rebound man of all time in the thing here is Bill Bridges. That was in 1959 as well. It was the same game, but he ripped down 23 boards here. And that's just a little bit of history on that. I mean, in 1989 was the largest margin of victory for the Jayhawks over Kentucky. It was 150-95. And Josh mentioned something about this game that I didn't know, that he can go ahead and roll on that.
Yeah, so the 1989 game, for those that remember the history, that was Pitino's first year at Kentucky. And he's obviously notorious for his pressing style, aggressive style. Roy Williams was still making, at Kansas, really making a name for himself. Jayhawks, the following season, had just came off of a title game. So Kansas was a lot better than Kentucky at the time. Kentucky was in the midst of that probation and all that backstory on that. So the Jayhawks and Wildcats meet up, and it's in Lawrence. And Pitino's pressing, and the Jayhawks are scoring at ease. So much so to the point where Kentucky was down large. I don't remember the exact number, but they were down large, 30, 40 points. And Roy Williams looked over at Pitino and apparently told him, stop pressing and we'll take it easy. We'll run some offense and whatnot. And Pitino basically looked at him in no uncertain terms and told him, screw off. This is who we are. We're going to press. You just keep scoring if you have to, and we'll learn from it. And that's exactly what Roy did. They didn't let up one bit, and final score ended up being 150-95. It just showed right there, too, the ballsiness of Pitino. He was coming in and setting the tone. But, yeah, Kansas definitely didn't lighten up there in 89 against the Cats. But yeah, Tyler gave some cool information on Kansas's end as far as the matchups all time between the Cats, and I think he said too that all time the Cats lead 22-9, and he did mention Kansas as 6-3 since 05. Something I find interesting, since 1990, when these two teams have played, and they don't play every year. Actually, they played in 1989, 1990, and they didn't play again until 98. So some interesting – they don't play all the time, but since 1990 when they were playing, it's been a game of streaks, basically. Kentucky won 3 in a row. They won in 90, 98, 99. And Kansas won 3 in a row. They won in 05, 06, 07. And then Kentucky, 3 in a row. 2011, 2012, 2014, and now Kansas is currently on a 3-game streak of their own in 2016, 2017, and actually 2017. So it's kind of crazy in the past 29 years now that it's been 3 for Kentucky, 3 for Kansas, 3 for Kentucky, 3 for Kansas, and who knows what's going to happen Saturday night, whether a new streak's going to start.
Let's hope the trend doesn't stay the same, because Kansas is riding that 3-game win streak, and I don't want it to come to an end on Saturday. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
We got differing opinions on that one.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Tyler brought up some cool points too on Kansas's end. Scoring leaders in this game, basically rivalry. Kentucky's into, and let's real quick shout out. We've got our information from BigBlueHistory.net, which is somebody took the time and compiled everything University of Kentucky. I'm talking about every roster from the first time the school started playing basketball, any venue that they've ever played in, the record there, any city they ever played in, the record, the tournament, anything you could ever want in the University of Kentucky that's compiled on this. So we've got our information from this, and whoever runs that or started the BigBlueHistory.net, bravo to you, because this takes a lot of work, and we're borrowing our information from here. But Kenny Walker has the all-time point man for the Cats in this game against Kansas. He dropped 36 on the Jayhawks on New Year's Eve of '84, actually. Put up 36. Everybody knows how good Sky Walker was, legendary player. Rebounding, you had Jim Andrews and Kenny Walker. Think about
Same
that.
game.
Same game.
Kenny Walker.
Yep, same game. 19 boards, if I didn't mention that. But Kenny Walker, you think about what he did to the Jayhawks in '84. He went for 36 and 19.
Damn.
That's a fucking ball game, son.
That's a hell of a stat line.
That's a ball game. 36 and 19. But yeah, there's just some cool stuff here. Like Tyler mentioned, Kansas's largest margin of victory was the 150-95 win. Kentucky's was back in 1969. They had won 115-85.
Yeah,
so,
that was a 50-point win and then a 55-point win. It's pretty wild for the caliber of teams that these guys are.
Yeah, I mean, those are some. And you think about it too. You think about the tree, and there's ways too. People don't really realize Kentucky, Kansas are kind of connected at the hip. Everybody knows Dr. James Naismith invented the game of basketball. Yeah, he became the first ever head coach at Kansas. Okay, under him and under that tree, you had Fog Allen, and actually people don't realize that Coach Rupp is a product of the Naismith Fog Allen tree. And people don't realize too, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, but John Calipari got his break as an assistant. It was like a grad assistant type deal. Really his first head coaching job, where he met his wife Ellen, was when he was helping Larry Brown at Kansas back in the mid-'80s, early 80s.
Yeah, did not know that.
So the two programs are kind of connected at the hip.
That's interesting. I didn't know that stuff.
Yeah, 1-2 in all-time wins.
Oh yeah,
I mean, legendary coaches, like we said, legendary players.
Hall of Fame and Bill.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Bill and Calipari are the modern day whoever you want to say. They're the modern day Fog Allen for this rivalry. So you just mentioned Kansas versus Kentucky. Like you don't need anything else. That's another one of these games that rankings don't matter.
No.
None of that matters. You say Kansas, Kentucky, and it's game one. It'll be game of the week, game of the day, and 9 times out of 10.
For sure.
I looked online to see what time the gates open for this, and they said they're not going. They said they're going to let the students start lining up 8 hours before college game day gets there. College game day starts at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We've mentioned players and we've mentioned coaches and everything else. We haven't mentioned fans, like the students and the fans that go pack in Fog Allen Fieldhouse or into Allen Fieldhouse, and the people who pack in Rupp Arena are some of the most passionate and loyal and knowledgeable fan bases that you'll find in any sport.
Yep.
It's, again, the kind of yin and yang between them. Decibel-wise, as far as loudest gym in the nation, Fog Allen is number one every year.
Yep.
I can attest to that personally. The fucking concrete below your feet shake. I'm telling you, it is something to see, man. I mean, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And whenever we were there, my buddy went with me, Chris Burton. They started doing the rock, chalk, jayhawk at the end of the game, when they do their chant. I couldn't do it. I couldn't lock arms with the guys next to me just because I was in awe of like the unison of this and just the roar of that. That was one of the cool. That's probably the coolest experience I've ever had at any game in my life, hands down.
Yeah, and not only, like I said, not only are the Kansas fans loyal and passionate and the loudest gym, loudest arena on a regular basis, then you have Kentucky, not only loyal, passionate, nutty at times. Like I'll test that, we're nutty. We have some crazy people in the fan, but we also lead. This will be, should we hold on? This will be like year number 23 of 24 or 22 of 23 that we've led the nation in attendance. We pack 24,000 in on a regular basis for games, whether you play a bum in East Kentucky or you're playing Kansas. There's going to be 24,000 roughly there. It's just wild. For basketball fans like us, it don't get much better in Kansas versus Kentucky.
No, it does not.
So moving on to that. Sorry, I had to pull my stats back up here. Moving on from that, we're going to go ahead and give some keys to the game, like what we feel. And this is what makes it fun. Last week we did, or if you hear it from a podcast, we are 9 times out of 10 neutral. Meaning last week we didn't have a dog in the fight in the IU Purdue game. No. So we were able to break down and give you points and references and stuff like that. This week, we're coming at it from a different perspective. We're coming at it from the eyes of, like, these are our teams, man. We've watched them. We know them as well as anybody. So, like, what we feel needs to happen for our respective team to walk out Saturday with a win. So, Tyler, I'm going to let you go first for the Jayhawks. What's the keys to victory for Kansas if they're wanting to walk out of Rupp Arena Saturday with a win?
But I think it all starts with limiting the turnovers. It's been a thorn in their hip the last couple games. It's that Dotson, man, he went the first 7 games and barely had 7 turnovers, and then he had a 7-turnover game against the loss to Iowa State the first time. That's a huge problem. Another thing we got is limiting the drought of scoring. I mean, we got the percentage-wise on paper we can shoot. You know, the percentages are high, but we have those moments where, you know, they go 4 or 5 minutes without scoring, and that's where you see the other team, you know, Iowa State's done it. Arizona State did it. They get these big runs, and then we can't close the gap because then we're playing back and forth. We're just playing, we get a bucket, you get a bucket, and you're not closing the gap that way. Another huge one for this is Dedrick Lawson. We got to keep him out of foul trouble, you know, for the lack of depth we got, you know, in the front court. And this is a weird thing for Kansas having lack of depth because we're usually it's the high-low game and we're beating you up down low. I mean, it's been for Cole Aldridge. I mean, all these guys, the Morris twins, we've had great big men down there. With Danny Manning not there anymore, I think that has a thing to do with it. Because, man, he developed these kids, and it's crazy. You know, you don't have Doak now. You know, he's out for the season. That's off the table. So Lawson's got to be in the game. He's our most consistent scorer. And for a three-point land, man, we got to shoot from like 38 to 40%. It ain't got to be crazy, but it's got to be decent. It's got to be pretty good because Kentucky can shoot the ball, man. They're quick. I mean, they got some pretty good guards out there. So we got to stay on point at the three-point line. And I just mentioned they're quick. We got to limit their transition points. I mean, these kids can run. They're athletic. I mean, we are too. But if they get the edge on that, man, that could be a deciding factor here. And another thing, as far as the lack of depth up front, we got to keep, you know, Washington and the other boys off the glass, off the offensive glass. We got to limit to one and done. You know, they miss that shot, we got to get that board. You know, with their size, we got to put an ass in them and move them out. That's what we need to do to get this done over there in Rupp Arena.
I think those are some good points, especially the Danny Manning point. I don't think it's mentioned much because a lot of times you don't think about assistant coaches, but he was the big man coach for Kansas for all them years. For all them years that you know, like you mentioned, Cole Aldridge, the Morris twins. You had Jeff Withey, you had Robinson, all down the line. That was Danny Manning's doing essentially. And even still, he's been gone for a few seasons now, and they've been fine. Doka, but I think that was a good point with Danny Manning.
I believe that Manning really brought the potential out of the Morris twins. If you remember when they were freshmen, you talked to me, I'm like, these guys are garbage. They're just chucking threes. They don't play well together with anybody else. And then over that summer between their freshman and sophomore year, Danny got in them. And he changed the perspective of these guys. And it's going on in today. I mean, you see Marcus in Boston now. I mean, he's tearing it up. Starting for the Celtics, it's a great organization.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Somebody who don't understand, maybe don't realize the importance of that. It's a good point. And I think you're right. Piggyback a little bit off of your points as far as what Kansas needs to do to beat Kentucky. The Cats, I have a couple points for them. Number one is our weakness all year is stopping the three-point line. You know, stopping the three-point shot. And you brought it up. Kansas, you said Kansas needs to hit about 40% roughly three-point percentage. Kansas, we've brought it up a million times in the podcast. Kansas is so deep at guard, and they have shooters who can knock down shots. I'm not even talking about – they're so deep that you don't need Vic to hit 5 of them. But if Vic hits 2, Dotson hits 1, Grimes hits 2, Moore hits 2 or 3. You see what I'm saying? It starts piling up. Kansas, so we've got to stop. We're doing better. We are really doing better. But you got to stop the three-point shot. Make Kansas a driving team. Kansas has shown that they like to get to the rim and they can get there, but they're not finishing like they normally would when they have a big guy down low. So make Kansas drivers. Run them off the three-point line, make them drivers. Number 2 is, like you mentioned, normally this game when we play – we have the upper hand in the backcourt, and you have the upper hand in the front court, and it's exactly flip-flop this game. I think Kansas got the upper hand in the backcourt, and we're bigger and better in the front court right now. We have to take it to Lawson. We have to make a guy like Plattfoot, or what's his name? Is it Lightfoot? Lightfoot. We have to make Lightfoot play extended minutes. We have to make either Lightfoot play extended minutes, or we have to make Kansas say screw it and go 5 yards. So it means PJ's got to have a big game. He's just coming off of a monster game against Mississippi State. He played well against Auburn, so PJ's starting to roll. Need Reed Travis. Reed Travis has been up and down in the last 3 or 4 games, where earlier in the year he was carrying us. Now the younger guys are starting to play better. Reed Travis he struggles so bad right now finishing above bigger, longer defenders. Reed Travis got a big game. PJ, Nick Richards don't have to score. Nick Richards is going to change games, blocking shots, rebounding. So we need our front court to really show up. EJ Montgomery, those guys. And then another thing is you got to continue the consistency shooting the basketball. We've won 4 in a row now since the Alabama loss, and it's all because we're playing harder defensively. But you guys got like Hero making shots, Keldon Johnson's making shots again. Emmanuel Quickly is really shooting the basketball well. And then you have guys like PJ aforementioned who are stepping out and knocking down jump shots and hitting a 3 here and there, and it's spreading open the floor to allow us to dribble drive like we want to. If Tyler Hero and Keldon Johnson specifically, those two can hit their jump shots and be aggressive, then I like our chances to win. I really like our chances to win if Hero and Keldon are shooting that well. It'd be interesting, again, going with Kansas's backcourt. It's going to be a fun one. Boy, it's going to be a fun one. It could go either way. It could be a grinded out, mash them out, ugly style game where it's played in the lower 60s, or both teams can come out on fire and we get a overtime game in the hundreds. There's a lot of NBA prospects. You guarantee there's going to be a lot of pro scouts at this game. Yeah. Guarantee your ass off that. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of potential and future pros playing in this. Mm-hmm. And that atmosphere. What I wouldn't give for us, the Everything College Basketball brand, to be there to cover in this, man, like I couldn't even imagine the atmosphere. Just seeing it a couple years ago, when we went to Kansas and played and took them to overtime, when we had Alex Poitras, we had Ulis, Jamal Murray. No, Harrison's when we're gone. Jamal Murray was there. We took that Kansas team that was really good. That was led by Frank Mason. Took them to overtime in Lawrence. And the following year, Kansas comes to Rupp and beats us. But that atmosphere was nuts too. They had so nuts that they even brought Michael Buffer, the legendary boxing ringside announcer. Yeah. The Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy. He did the pregame introductions. Like
that's wild.
Yeah, you're not just, and that shows another specialty. Like they know how special this is. Like coaches are going to speak all the time and be like, well, it's just another game. And in the grand scheme of things, it is. But you're not bringing Michael Buffer in. This is no offense to who I'm about to say, but you're not bringing Michael Buffer in for Missouri. You're bringing him in for Kansas.
To hell with Missouri. So who cares with that? You want to leave the Big 12 because Kansas is whooping your ass, and now Kentucky's doing it.
I actually seen that game last year too. I was at Rupp Arena when we beat up on Missouri. It's funny. Was it that you said that when the conferences changed? I think it was you. We were talking about when the whole conference realignment about 6-7 years ago, and Missouri moved over. I couldn't swear. I don't want to. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure me and Tyler were together talking about laughing, joking. And he goes, he looks at me deadpans, and he goes, fucking Missouri's going to be used to it. And I said, what do you mean? He said, all you got to do, they're so used to getting their ass whooped by Kansas. All you got to do is flip the letters around, and they'll think it's Kansas all over with Kentucky.
True story.
That's hilarious.
So, but I mean, again, all this stuff, like, it's untelling what NBA celebrities are coming back that used to play for Kansas, Kentucky. It's probably coming back in the house to watch this. Twitter's going to blow up. It's a mega game, and it's a game between 2 potential Final Four teams.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Cats are peaking at the right time right now. They're getting better and better and better. Kansas is still really good. They're just trying to find their way right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to find their way, playing with 4 guards at one time and playing now definitely through Lawson. And Kansas is fine. You've seen it the other night. Struggled a little bit. And Iowa State's one of those teams I think that just has Kansas's number. Whether they beat them
they're
or not.
a pesky team.
Yeah. Yeah, they whether they beat them or not, they just over the last couple of years have kind of got Kansas's number in a way, to get up under their skin. Kansas is fine. There's nothing wrong with Kansas. Mm-hmm. Even here's the thing about this, and Tyler, I think you'll agree with it. Win or lose in Saturday, both teams are going to be fine. The only way that both teams or one of these teams come out on Saturday and in bad shape is if, God forbid, you have an injury or two and it really derails you, or if you just get absolutely ran out the gym by like 50 or 60.
I don't see that margin of victory for either side being that large. And let's knock on wood. Let's hope neither one of them have any injuries, so we can get a damn good game out of that. I don't want to see anything to deter the outcome of this based on injury during game. We know Doak's out, so that's off the board. That's not going to be a factor. So as long as no one else falls on either side of the court, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and man, no, I don't want to see. I'm not one of those people. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But like I said, I think you'll agree with me that regardless of the outcome on Saturday, whether Kansas walks away with a victory or Kentucky continues to ride this momentum, that both teams are going to be fine moving forward. It's just, what do you expect? Both teams are quality. Both teams are monster powerhouses, and they're butting heads. It's like two Rams right now just clashing. Somebody's got to win.
Yeah, Kansas. I think Kansas comes out on top of this 86-82. It's not going to be nothing crazy. I think it's going to be a close one. 86-82 is my score prediction on this. What you got on your side?
Obviously I'm going to take the Cats. I'm just trying to figure out how the game's going to be played. Because I can see it like defensively. I can see both teams coming up so jacked, missing shots early, and it won't settle down until about second, late in the game.
Yeah.
But I can also see them both teams coming out and just guns a-blazing, mistakes everywhere.
I think that's what's going to be on the defensive end is a couple of mistakes, trying to get eager for the tip out for the quick dunk and get the crowd either into it or shut the crowd up.
Yeah, that's one thing, in a game like this, anytime you play on the road, especially a big-time game like this, Kansas's goal within that first 4 minutes is to get the crowd out of it because the crowd's going to be jacked. Like they're going to – even the old people who don't normally stand up and jump around, they're going to be hyped.
Yeah.
They're going to be hyped. So Kansas, I'd imagine that first 4 minutes of the game is going to look to jump out early to put some worry in the BBN early in the fan base.
Yeah.
I think, well, as far as my prediction, I forgot to give it. I'll say Kentucky 81, Kansas 78, and I think you can go ahead and put me on a quote now. I think Hero hits a shot late with like 2 or 3 seconds to go to give Kentucky the win. I think it's gonna be close, man. It's gonna be close.
It's gonna be close. I don't think, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think it's gonna be no 150-95 or some Duke bullshit that's been going on, just where they've smashed some people and shit. But I don't think it'll be nothing like that.
No, I don't think so either.
Let me pose a question to you. I think it's fun like this. For you, who's either one matchup or one player from Kentucky that you're concerned with? That's kind of, you're like, man, if they get going, or man, this matchup's bad for us right now. Like from your end, who's one matchup or player you're kind of like, ugh?
Well, it's a toss up. If you want to go over the base of the season, I'm gonna go with Washington. He's been the more consistent. He gets hyped. He does everything right. But Hero, man, here lately, he's been on. I watched that Auburn game, man. That little fucker, he was pumped up. Everything he did everything right. Playing well, shooting the ball right. He was doing everything and clicking. So, it's not in one player, but one of those two are kind of on my radar as far as getting off quick.
Yeah, I would agree with one of those two. As for me, the one guy on Kansas, it's weird to say I'm one guy, but like one particular person I'm worried about is obviously LeGerald Vick can get going. He's proven in this year, beginning of the year, he was as hot as anybody in the nation. Yeah. He was on fire. Uh-huh. But I think we can neutralize him. The player I'm worried about is, since he's took the red shirt off, he's been outstanding for the Jayhawks.
Yeah.
Is that Ochai? Tyler, pronounce his last name for me.
I can't get it out.
Okay.
It's number 30, Oche. I can't remember his name, but man, this kid he's so hyped.
Yeah. Okay. So forgive us on the pronunciation, but that's who I'm worried about, because since I took the red shirt off in the last 3 or 4 games he's been eligible to play, he's been like a glue guy for Kansas. He's not scoring a lot, but he's scoring enough.
He's doing the intangible stuff.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what scares me as far as that matchup goes, because anytime you have a guy like that that's that athletic, that can run in transition, that defends, he just plays hard right now. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned on the podcast last week and a few weeks, he plays hard because why wouldn't you? You've had the red shirt. You didn't think you were going to play this year, and all of a sudden coach is like, we're pulling your red shirt. We need you. Like, This team needs you. So he's amped and he's playing well. And I'm worried about it because as well as we've been playing here lately, and as mature as we're getting, Kentucky, that is, I still worry too that they're still young and they can have mental lapses, and that's where a guy who just plays hard can get extra rebounds and kick out to guys like Vic and Moore and Dodson, Grimes, and all them, and those second chance opportunities, or just blowing by you and getting a dunk. Plays like that. Oche, he's my main concern. Not main, but you know what I'm saying. He's kind of that concern I have.
Yeah.
Player to watch out for.
Go ahead. I was kind of curious to see if you're going to say Garrett, because of the way he's been attacking the rim so consistently, and his career high was 13 coming into this year, and then two games ago he scored 13 straight on a run by himself. He has got some confidence rolling right now, and I mean, as well as Anowane or whatever the hell his name is. He's got some hype going to him, man. He's playing extremely hard. So I didn't know which way you're going to go, but I can see that.
Yeah, Garrett was, but I'm just the Oche is who, because he does everything, like he just plays hard. Oh, yeah. He plays hard enough. As a coach, we've mentioned this. You want players who don't give you a reason to take them out, and he's a coach's dream right now, because he's just playing hard. Any mistakes he makes, you can live with him because he's going to bust ass to make up for it.
He came out a second half and started over Grimes in the Iowa State game.
And you've seen what happened. Kansas was able to kind of get some separation there.
Yeah.
See, that's what concerns me with that matchup. I think a matchup, too, that's going to be determining factor is, yes, Kansas is very deep in the backcourt, but how is Dodson or Grimes, whoever starts as a point guard for Kansas, going to handle the pressure Ashton Hagen's going to put on him? Because they have not seen one yet, and they will not see another one until maybe they get to the tournament, a better on-ball defender than Ashton Hagens. He will get up after you, and whether it's Dodson or it's Grimes or somebody else starts at point, you can expect Hagens is going to be all up on them, pressing them 94 feet by himself.
Mm-hmm. But I think Bill might be able to counter that by, noticing who he's guarding and then deferring it to either Grimes or Dotson to bring it up and run the offense through that. I think that could be an option for him. But, Dotson, if he gets you on his hip, man, he is gone. I mean, he is quick. So if you want to press this cat for 94 feet and he gets a head of steam on you, I mean, it's either going to be an assist or a layup for this cat.
It's so like the little interchanging, like, well, if you do this, it's like these matchups are fun like that, like, because there's so much talent. It's not like you just key on one person or two people and you've got them beat. For both teams, you can key in on one or two people and you have 4 other guys, because there's so much talent.
Yeah, it's not like your shout out dude from Campbell that's lighting it up and he's the highlight of the whole squad. You got 3 or 4 guys on each team that could go for 25, and it's happened. I mean, each of them has posted that amount.
Yeah, and there's a lot of depth too. Just not. You mentioned the other day when we was watching I think you even mentioned on the podcast the Kentucky-Auburn game. Just going over that real quick, you're like, well, fuck, they had 4 dudes, 220s, 117, and 113. That's pretty damn good balance.
Yeah,
and both teams can go that way. Mm-hmm. It's crazy the depth and the talent level that's going to be on the floor on Saturday night. Oh, and shout out Chris Clemens. You don't disparage Chris Clemens' name. Holla, my boy.
Yeah, he got you.
So we gave our, pretty in-depth, I would like to think, predictions, insight. So Peyton, yes, you are a Kansas fan, but Peyton's going to play the role of a straight man here and give us his unbiased opinions for both Kansas and Kentucky and how the matchup shakes out and some stuff on his end.
I'll start off Kentucky first. Big key for the Cats to get this W is got to at least try to contain Dedrick Lawson as much as possible. He's averaging 19 points with 11 boards every game, and he just put up against Iowa State in that victory on Monday. He just put up 29 points with 15 boards. It's a hell of a style line there. He's a double-double machine. You got to try to at least contain him. He's the one key player for Kansas. He's the key player for Kansas, and you got to at least try to contain him. Second of all, for Kentucky, see if you guys can control the paint and dominate that paint, especially with Kansas not having like Udoka, Azubuike, and only having Lightfoot and Lawson.
McCormick as well. Sorry.
Yeah. You got to at least try to dominate that paint, see if you can, because whether it's P.J. Washington, Nick Richards, or Reed Travis, I forgot his name.
Or E.J. Montgomery.
E.J. Montgomery.
EJ's playing well right now.
One of those four. If you guys can dominate that paint, that's a key factor for you guys. I think you might win it. For Kansas, like Cook said, you got to limit the turnovers. Dawson, like you said, Iowa State had like 7 turnovers, and on West Virginia, he had 6 turnovers. That's not, especially if you have Higgins guarding you, you can't do that. You got to take care of the ball and not turn it over that much. So you got to eliminate the turnovers. Hit shots, you got to at least hit some threes, whether it's Vic, Garrett, Moore, Grimes, anyone, even Lawson. You got to at least hit a couple of threes to really stretch it out and make Kentucky guard you out, because you're really deep in your guard play and your front court. I can't even talk right now. But that's my keys for the game. Prediction-wise, I'm obviously going to go to Kansas. I got Kansas winning 79-75. That's how I see it going out. That's how I see Kansas getting this W.
See, and I think we're all in agreement that the game's going to be close. Which, if our predictions on the in the zone press here are worth anything, then that means it's going to be a blowout somehow. When we said it was going to be close to Purdue, Indiana, and it was, it definitely wasn't that. Real quick while we're here, let's give them a little bonus. Real quick, we're talking about Kansas, Kentucky. Real quick on the IU thing. What's your guys' opinion? They've lost 5 in a row. We've got a lot of IU fans in the group, on the Facebook group. What the hell's wrong with the Hoosiers right now?
They're terrible. At least right now, they're not playing as they should, as they started at the beginning of the season. I don't know what's going on with them. I really don't. They're just not playing well. They're just not playing as a team. One of their players from Indiana just got suspended. I can't think of his name right now.
It was Devontae Green.
Devontae Green just got suspended. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just not playing well, not as they could be right now. 5 losses in a row is not good, especially in the Big Ten.
They just did a total 180 from what they started out with. I mean, they came out with a lot of promise. They cracked the top 25. But they just faltered off. But like I've mentioned before in some of the comments with these guys, you got to give Archie some time. This isn't HGTV where they build a house in 30 minutes and it's over. You got to give this shit some time. You got to let him develop. Get his players in there that he wants. And I think in the coming years they're going to get that opportunity to get back in, not only in top 25. I can see him back in the top 10. Being a threat again on the national stage.
Yeah, I think so. It's so odd too, and they're not the only one. We'll mention more on Sunday's podcast. You got other teams like Ohio State. Remember when they played Michigan State a few weeks ago, and it was one of the bigger games of the day. Both teams were only 1 loss and ranked inside the top 15, and now here they are sitting with a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah. So don't worry, Steve Gabbard, Scott Bergen, Derek Crowhorn, the Hoosiers will be back. It's not going to be this year, unfortunately. But you guys have weathered the storm. They're coming back.
Yeah, and as fans, like rivalries aside, college basketball is better when teams like Indiana, Kentucky, Kansas, Louisville, Carolina, the historic powers, the game's better when they're good. So, but anyways, Tyler, before we cut on out of here, do you have any other, final thoughts?
I don't have a final thought. I think I put it all out there, but I do have a couple pieces of information
Here
for
we
the group,
go. Oh, God.
for the group, and for you two especially. I'm in the works now of getting an interview with one of Indiana's top recruits. I mean, you guys might be able to guess, but I'm not going to go into details yet until I actually get confirmation. But I have a really close source family member in contact with him now. That's going to be an opportunity to get him on here and talk to. So that's going to be big. I mean, we can promote this guy. I mean, he's going to be something special.
Yeah, spoiler, it's Calbert Cheney.
But, you mentioned about how special this game's going to be, about all the celebrities going to be there and all this stuff for the Kansas-Kentucky game, and how it'd be nice to have one of us down there. Well, as of today, I will be at the Kansas-Kentucky game, as a everything college basketball guy out there. I'm going to try and get down there to be as early as I can to the college game day. I'm going to try and get some updates. I'm going to try and run into some people that, you might not get to see every day. Maybe Paul Pierce is there. I'm going to tackle his ass if I see him getting autographed or something. But you never know who's going to be there. The other day, I seen Frank and Graham sitting courtside at the Iowa State-Kansas game, so you never know who's going to – Davis might be there. Davis is hurt, so you might get to see the unibrow there. I'm going to try and I'm going to be in the nosebleeds watching this thing, but I'm going to try and get as much, insight on what's going on around the facility and the buzz going on. Hopefully I don't get killed down there wearing my Kansas stuff, but it's probably going to take 3 of them to do it. So we'll see what happens on that.
Well, that's cool. And let me, you'll enjoy Rupp Arena. We've talked about this for years. You'll enjoy Rupp. There's not a bad seat. There really is not. You're going to enjoy it. My experience has been at games, because obviously I've been a handful of times. I've been to watch the Cats 3 times this year already, twice at Rupp, and you can wear your stuff freely. I mean, you're not going to get any crap. I mean, there might be some friendly banter, but it's not anything ignorant. You're going to enjoy your time. Yes, get there early. Trust me, especially for a big game like this. Get there early. Get your parking. Walk around. Rupp's a cool place, man. Rupp's a really cool place to catch a game. And what a game to go to.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to ask how much you spent on tickets.
Listen, I am a bargain shopper, so it wouldn't have been nothing crazy to go to this. It's Rupp's been a bucket list for me. As far as I want to see UCLA, I want to see North Carolina, I want to see Duke, I want to see Syracuse. I've been to Kansas. I'm going to go back. It's just a matter of when. But Rupp is one of those gyms that you gotta be there to get the grasp of what it is. You want to talk about the audience and all that stuff. You got 24,000 people there. It's just something you need to see. I mean, it's as far as as being as loud as Kansas is, I want to see how big of a following that Kentucky is, because you see it on TV, when they go anywhere. But this is just something that you got to witness, and I want to see. That's just one I got to see.
Yeah, you're going to see a shit ton of blue. A ton of fucking blue. I put it this way. I mean, I know Louisville's essentially just right up the road. We went to that Kentucky-Louisville game. I told Peyton beforehand, I said, listen, you're going to see a ton of blue. And we were walking the streets of Louisville, and he looked, and he's like, fuck. So what? He said, there's so much damn blue in this fucking place.
Well, you see them travel to Maui. I mean, they're everywhere. They went to that Puerto Rico tournament. They were down there. Yeah. I mean, they're like some fucking mosquitoes. They're just all over you in the summertime. You know what I mean? They follow so well.
Yeah, that's the same thing with the Kansas-Kentucky correlation, tying that all back in, is that both of our teams in that state, but we're king, because there's nothing else in the state. There's no pro teams. So
yeah, that's a huge aspect of it.
Yeah, we're kings, and we always have been, and it helps that both programs have always been really good. So you have generations of people that grow up. They could be in the poorest of poor areas, like over in East Kentucky or wherever. You can be in the poorest of poor areas, listening on a little radio. Maybe not even have food to eat or a whole lot and be starving. But if the Cats win and you can hear it on the radio, then you go to bed happy.
Yeah.
And same way with the Jayhawks. You know, I'm sure in like small, like or poor areas of the Jayhawks back in the day, growing up, and you could listen to the Jayhawks, and you know, if they were able to get a big win, you went to bed happy. And it didn't matter what was going on in your personal life. It didn't matter if you were rich, poor, single, married, broke, happy. It didn't matter. If the Jayhawks or the Wildcats won, you went to bed happy, and that's what separates like the fandoms of these two schools from everybody else.
There's very few teams that can do that, college or professional. You know, I mean, the New Orleans Saints, when they won, man, that was something crazy. And you just don't see that. I mean, there's very few teams that have that effect on their fan base. I mean, you watch that thing with the Los Angeles Rams, like them people, when they won the game, you see them over there drinking their vegan bullshit. And they're like, oh, yeah. You know, it wasn't nothing special. But when these teams come to town, and especially with their following, like you mentioned, man, if they win, it's something special for them.
Yeah. So I guarantee you, when you check back in with us, either Saturday night after it's over or Sunday morning before we do our podcast, you're going to check back in and you'll be like, yo, Rupp was dope. And let's be honest, there's going to be certain points, especially if Kentucky hits a big three or gets on a big fast break dunk, the place will come like unglued. But it's not going to be as loud as, you know, Fog Allen on a hole. You're not going to like have this deafening noise, you know. But you're going to see a passionate, loud, energetic. And it's funny, too, especially in a game of magnitude like that. Say the Cats are losing, or even if they're winning, they have a couple bad plays in a row. You're going to have fans be like, and you can just feel the tension beside them. It's fun, man. I'm
calling truce with the surrounding people around me. I'm just going to say, hey, don't get on my ass if I get rowdy, and I won't get on yours, and we'll all leave here happy. I ain't got to throw nobody down 16 flights of stairs, and you guys ain't got to jump on me. So we'll just call it even, call it truce, and enjoy the game.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, make sure, you know, I don't got to tell you nothing, but yeah, we're expecting everybody. This is from everybody in the group. We're expecting a lot of fun stuff coming from you down there on site.
Yep, on site. I don't know. I'm gonna try and get as close to that game day stuff as I can. You know, try and, if I can see somebody, you know, just snack a picture or something and try and come back with some cool stories, maybe meet up with some people, try and run into a Kansas fan or two and see what happens.
Yeah, just do like you know what to do. Have your phone, do some video, find people, get you a little buzz going on, get a little courage, and just start talking to people. Get the feel for a game like that down there. It is the game of the day in our pick'ems too.
Yes, it's by far the game of the day.
Yeah, understandably so. There's no other matchup on the day that could surpass an 8 versus 9.
No.
Yeah, even if it wasn't 8 versus 9, you know, it'd have to take something that was really, really good game. Yeah, for it to surpass Kansas, Kentucky.
Yeah, maybe Duke, Carolina, but you know what? For today, they both can kiss my ass.
Yeah, that's for sure about that. Well, we've been here for a while, and I think we've pretty much broke this thing down as well as we possibly can.
Yep.
You know, all that's left to be said is, again, you guys remember, we do have a Facebook group. If you're new, if you're just following the YouTube channel, stumble upon us, we're a Facebook group. You go to facebook.com/groups/everything college basketball. Send us a request to join. You will be accepted just like that. And go ahead and join, man. We are growing by the day in numbers. We are active as any board you'll find. And game threads, we have news, like breaking news sometimes, recruiting, fun banter, questions. Yeah. It's a fun group.
Everything.
So again, it'll be the link will be in the description. We'll put it in there. I'll put it on the comment. It's facebook.com/groups/everything college basketball. All one word, everything college basketball. We have a podcast that's gaining traction. We're gaining people and followers that we have no idea across the country. It's got some prominence to them. We're not going to spoil, but like people are literally messaging the three of us saying, you guys are doing a good job, this, that, and the other, not to toot our own horn. But Tyler, you want to tell them where they can find the podcast at?
You can find this thing on Anchor. You know, we got it on iTunes now. I'm pretty sure we got it on Spotify as well, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Google Play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got it on four channels. You know, whatever your preference is. You know, personally, I'm an iPhone guy, so iTunes is my thing. You know, Anchor. I was listening on Anchor before we got on to iTunes. The quality doesn't change. So the same thing. So that's the 4 platforms that we got going on.
Yeah, and if you're looking for us, just type in everything college basketball in your search bar. Will pop up. Or if you want to go the actual Anchor route, it'd be anchor.fm/ECB podcast. You'll find us there. Listen, we're growing. It's a good feeling. We've got a Twitter page. Peyton, you want to tell them where Twitter they can follow us at?
You can follow us on Twitter at ECB Podcast number 10.
Yep, so that's ECB Podcast 10 on Twitter. Give us a follow, holler us out. We'll give you a shout out. I think it's all of our plugs. If not, you'll find everything in the description down below.
I'll put everything in the description.
Again, this has been the In the Zone Press podcast by the ECB boys. Mm-hmm. And again, we want to thank Applied Right Painting Services out of serving the Indianapolis area. Go for them if you're around Indiana here and you need something done painting-wise, reconstruction, and whatever. So for Josh Burton,
Peyton Burton.
One last thing. Dr. James Naismith wrote these rules for this game. Without Naismith, there's no basketball. Without Naismith, there's no RUP that I'm going to be at. So, give your love to these boys.
And he forgot to say that's Tyler Cook, obviously.
Yeah, just one more little jab in there.
So with that, we'll call it a night, and we will catch you on Sunday. Make sure you're there Sunday. Podcast, Everything College Basketball. For the 3 of us, we out. Boom.